Why are evil people still wealthy? Have you ever looked around and wondered, why is that person, who cheats, lies, and manipulates, so rich and successful, while the kind, the honest, the generous, seem to struggle just to survive? It's a question as old as time itself. From ancient kings to today's social media billionaires, this same puzzle lingers in our hearts. Why do bad people seem to win, and not just win, but thrive? Drive fancy cars, own mansions, get praised and followed by millions, while those who live with integrity are barely making ends meet. You may have thought it privately, you may have asked it out loud in frustration, or maybe, you've kept it buried deep inside your chest, like a quiet resentment. Is life even fair? Today, we're going to take that very question, and hold it up to the light of Buddhist wisdom, not with blind faith, not with shallow comfort, but with a deeper lens, one that goes beyond what we can see with our eyes. Because what if the game isn't what it seems? What if we've been measuring winning all wrong? Let me tell you a story. The merchant and the monk. In a small village nestled between green hills, there lived a wealthy merchant. He was powerful, feared, and rich beyond imagination. People bowed when he passed. But behind closed doors, he exploited the poor, bribed officials, and mocked those who believed in virtue. At the edge of the same village, lived an old monk. He wore no shoes, ate only once a day, slept on a bamboo mat, but every morning, he walked with peace in his step, a smile on his lips. One day, the merchant laughed at the monk and said, "Look at you, poor, ragged, useless. If your so-called virtue is so great, why are you living like a beggar?" The monk replied calmly, "Perhaps you are confusing wealth with worth, and success with soul." The merchant scoffed. "We'll see which one of us dies happier." Years passed. The monk died quietly, surrounded by those he'd helped. The merchant died screaming in a palace, gripped by paranoia, terrified of what would come next. That story, my friend, isn't just fiction. It's a reflection, a mirror to the question we all carry: why does it seem like evil people win? But Buddhism teaches us something vital here. We only see one slice of the story. One moment in a vast chain of cause and effect. That rich man may be enjoying the results of good deeds he did in a past life. That poor man may be burning through the karma of past mistakes, while planting seeds of future peace. And most importantly, wealth does not equal peace, fame does not equal fulfillment, and success, by society's standards, is often failure by the soul's standards. We live in a world obsessed with what's visible: money, fame, power. But Buddhism invites us to ask, what is invisible, but even more real? Things like inner freedom, a clean conscience, a peaceful mind. As the Buddha said, though a man be rich, if he clings to greed, he suffers. And though a man be poor, if he has no craving, he is free. Let that sink in. So the next time you feel frustrated by seeing someone bad succeed, pause, and ask yourself, are they really winning? Or are they simply collecting more chains to carry into their next life? Because karma is not a lightning bolt, it is a law, quiet, precise, and patient. It always returns, but not always when we expect. If you plant a mango seed today, would you expect to eat the fruit tomorrow? Of course not. You know it takes time, sunlight, rain, seasons of change, and yet, when it comes to life, to justice, to karma, we expect instant results. We wonder, why didn't that evil person suffer yet? Why did the good person still face pain? But Buddhism teaches, karma is not a vending machine. It doesn't give you what you want when you press a button, it gives you what you've earned, when the conditions are ripe. Let me take you deeper. The word karma has been misunderstood for centuries. Some think it's divine punishment, others believe it's superstition, but at its core, karma means action. And the consequences that arise from action, every thought you think, every word you speak, every deed you do, is like a seed you plant into the soil of the universe. These seeds do not disappear, they wait, they grow, and when the time is right, they bloom, exactly as they were planted. There is no judge, no courtroom, only the infallible mathematics of cause and effect. Imagine this: you walk into a forest, and a giant tree falls near you. You panic, you ask, why did this happen to me? But what you didn't see, is that long ago, someone chopped at its roots. The tree was already unstable, it was only a matter of time. In the same way, many of our life experiences are results of past causes, not just from this lifetime, but from previous ones. Karma flows across lifetimes. It may sound strange in the West, but in the Buddhist view, the stream of consciousness continues, carrying with it all our intentions, choices, and impressions. A person may be born into wealth, not because they are lucky, but because in a past life, they practiced generosity, gave to others, and cultivated virtue. Likewise, someone might face hardship, not because they're bad, but because they once created suffering for others. This isn't fatalism. This is freedom with responsibility, because whatever we plant today, becomes the foundation of tomorrow. So why do bad people seem to be rewarded? Let's take an example: a corrupt businessman. He manipulates others, hoards wealth, abuses power. From the outside, he looks like he's winning. Luxury cars, expensive vacations, influence. But here's the key: he may be spending the karmic savings from a past life of virtue. Like a trust fund baby living off his grandparents' fortune, he's burning through merit he didn't earn in this life, and once that good karma runs out, the collapse can be sudden, painful, and spiritually devastating, because while material karma gives wealth, mental karma gives peace, and moral karma gives dignity of the soul. Without these, no riches can save him. Let me tell you a real story from the time of the Buddha. King Ajatasattu was powerful, but had committed a grave crime. He killed his own father to take the throne. He ruled a great kingdom, had wealth beyond measure, but deep inside, he was tormented. He once came to the Buddha and confessed, "Great teacher, I have all the pleasures of life, but none of the peace." The Buddha responded not with judgment, but with truth. He who has remorse, but continues with unwholesome acts, plants suffering deeper still. Even the mighty are not immune. There's a Buddhist proverb: not even 100 lifetimes can erase a single unwholesome deed, and not even death can steal the reward of a single virtuous act. This is both terrifying and liberating, because it means nothing is lost, every act matters, and every intention lives on, waiting for the right moment to manifest. Just like a lotus grows from mud, your good deeds will one day bloom, even if today feels dark. So when you ask, why do bad people seem to win? Remember, you're seeing just a snapshot, not the full movie, not the seeds they planted, not the consequences still unfolding. And as we'll see in the next chapter, wealth without wisdom is a golden prison. Stay with me, as we explore how real happiness cannot be faked, and why so many rich lives are haunted behind the curtain of luxury. We scroll through our phones, see people smiling on yachts, posing in penthouses, laughing at luxury dinners, and we whisper to ourselves, they've made it. But here's a question that pierces through the illusion: if they're truly happy, why are so many of them still searching? Why do some of the richest people confess to feeling empty? Why do celebrities, athletes, CEOs, with everything the world offers, still battle addiction, anxiety, and depression? It's because not all prisons have bars. Some are made of gold. We've been conditioned to believe that money will solve everything, and to be fair, money can solve many things: hunger, shelter, education, access. But here's the truth that hits hard: money can buy comfort, but it cannot buy peace. It can buy attention, but never genuine love. It can buy distractions, but not freedom from suffering. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises not from poverty, but from attachment, and attachment wears many masks. Some are attached to status, some to image, some to control, and the more you own, the more you fear losing. The millionaire doesn't sleep better than the monk, he simply sleeps in silk, while worrying about theft, taxes, and betrayal. Let me tell you a story, one that's repeated more often than we realize. A young man becomes an overnight success, millions of followers, deals, mansions, supercars. But behind the cameras, he's exhausted, He's paranoid, he's surrounded by people who smile when he wins, but vanish when he's vulnerable. One night, staring at the ceiling of his designer bedroom, he whispers, "I have everything I dreamed of, so why do I feel so alone?" This is not fiction, it's a truth echoed in interview after interview, by those the world calls successful. Because external wealth cannot silence internal suffering. The Buddha once said, "Even if one should conquer 1,000,000 men in battle, he who conquers himself is the greatest victor." In other words, you could conquer industries, own empires, dominate the headlines, but if your mind is still tormented by greed, fear, or craving, you are not free. True wealth, according to Buddhist wisdom, is measured in the clarity of your mind, the lightness of your heart, the depth of your compassion, because when you die, you take none of your money with you, but you do take the quality of your consciousness. There's an ancient Buddhist metaphor about a hungry ghost, a being with a huge belly and a tiny throat. No matter how much it eats, it never feels full. This is the symbol of unsatisfied craving, the exact state many wealthy people live in. They consume endlessly, luxury goods, relationships, experiences, but never feel whole, because wholeness does not come from consumption. It comes from awakening, from seeing things clearly, from realizing that joy does not come from what you have, but how you live. In the Buddha's time, there lived a man named Siddhartha, one of the wealthiest men in the city of Savatthi. He had everything, but he also had wisdom. He used his wealth not to inflate his ego, but to serve others. He built monasteries, fed the hungry, cared for the sick. When he met the Buddha, he bowed and said, "I have gold, but I want peace." The Buddha replied, "Then let your gold become seeds, not shackles." Siddhartha died not just wealthy, but deeply content, because he understood this simple truth: wealth is not evil. Attachment to it is. So when we look at someone rich and ask, why are they winning? We must also ask, do they sleep in peace? Do they walk with kindness? Do they live free of fear? Because that is the true test. In the next chapter, we'll explore the trap of comparing ourselves to others, and how that very comparison creates suffering in our own lives. But for now, remember, a gold cage is still a cage, and the richest life is one lived with an awakened heart. We live in a time where it takes just seconds to feel like we're not enough. You open your phone, and suddenly, someone is younger than you, richer than you, more attractive than you, living a life that looks like it was crafted by the gods themselves. And you're just lying on your bed, scrolling in your pajamas, wondering where you went wrong. This feeling, this ache of not enough, has a name. It's envy. And envy is the slow poison that turns contentment into suffering. Comparison used to be simple. You only compared yourself to your neighbors, maybe your cousins, your friends from school. Now, you compare yourself to billions of people, to highlight reels, to staged perfection, to filters and fantasies. And in this endless game, you will always lose, because someone will always be richer, smarter, more successful, or at least, appear to be. Comparison is the thief of joy. It does not inspire, it devours. In Buddhist teachings, envy is called Isa, one of the 10 fetters that bind us to suffering. The Buddha warned, a mind consumed by envy burns within, it cannot rejoice, even in its own fortune. Why? Because envy distorts reality. It convinces you that others' happiness subtracts from your own, that their gain is your loss, that life is a zero-sum game. But this is delusion. In truth, no one's light dims your own. Someone else's sunrise doesn't make your sunset less beautiful. Let's pause and be honest. Envy feels real. It's not just a mental game, it's physical. Your stomach clenches, your chest tightens, your thoughts spiral. You might even start resenting people who've done nothing wrong. But here's the thing, envy is a mirror, reflecting your own insecurities. It says more about your pain than their success. And the danger, envy often hides under righteousness. She didn't work hard for that. He cheated to get ahead. They don't deserve it. But this is the ego's defense. It's trying to protect itself from the sting of not feeling enough. So how do we escape? How do we stop comparing and start living? Buddhism offers this liberating practice, mudita, sympathetic joy. it's the art of rejoicing in the happiness of others, to feel genuine joy. When someone else wins, imagine that, not faking a smile, not forcing kindness, but truly feeling happy. When others succeed, this is not weakness, it's freedom, because when your heart expands to celebrate others, you are no longer in competition, you are in harmony. There was once a monk who struggled deeply with envy. Every time his fellow monks were praised, he felt a fire in his chest. One day, the Buddha called him and said, "Imagine two seeds, one is placed in dry soil, the other in rich, nourished earth, which one will grow?" The monk replied, "The one in good soil, of course." The Buddha smiled and said, "So too is the mind, envy is the dry soil, it cannot grow happiness, but joy for others. That is the fertile ground of peace." The monk wept, not from shame, but from relief. He realized his suffering wasn't caused by other success, but by his own refusal to celebrate it. There is a reason why flowers don't compete. They just bloom. You have your own timeline, your own story, your own karma unfolding, so why measure your life using someone else's ruler? Buddhism teaches that each being has its own causes and conditions. Some rise quickly, others take time, but everyone walks a path shaped by lifetimes of choices. So instead of asking, "Why not me?" ask, "What is mine to learn? What seeds can I plant today?" Because true peace begins the moment you stop chasing someone else's life, and start honoring your own. Comparison leads to envy, envy leads to suffering, but compassion leads to awakening. When you look at someone and think, "They must be lucky." Pause. And remember, you don't know their full story. Their wealth might be hiding wounds, their smile might be masking storms. Instead of judging or envying, simply wish them well. May you be truly happy, may I, too, find my own peace. That one wish can change everything. Let's pause and ask a bold question. Why are some people, who seem cruel or dishonest, still blessed with success, luxury, and status? It's not just frustrating, it feels wrong. We want the universe to work like a courtroom. Good gets rewarded, bad gets punished. Simple, right? But the universe doesn't run on human emotion, it runs on karma, the law of cause and effect, not as punishment, not as reward, but as a mirror, and karma isn't always instant. Imagine this, you plant a seed today, will it grow tomorrow? Of course not, it takes time, and not all seeds grow at the same speed. A rose might bloom in weeks, a tree could take years, a bamboo? Sometimes it stays underground for 5 years before shooting up in just 5 weeks. Karma works the same way. Just because someone is rich today, doesn't mean they're creating good karma now. They may be enjoying the fruits of good deeds from long, long ago, even from past lives. Here's where many people misunderstand karma. They look at wealth and think, that must mean this person is good. Not necessarily. In Buddhist teaching, wealth is a fruit, a result, a consequence, not proof of someone's virtue today. Let's be clear, a wealthy person may have once practiced generosity, maybe they helped the poor, built schools, offered kindness freely. Those seeds, even if planted lifetimes ago, can ripen now. But here's the twist, even a poisonous tree can bear sweet fruit, until its roots are exposed. Meaning, someone with cruel intentions today may still enjoy temporary success, because they're living off past merit, but if their present actions create bad karma, that will ripen too, not today, but someday, like a delayed storm. Let's visit the time of the Buddha. There was a feared man named Angulimala. He had killed 999 people. He wore a necklace made of fingers, his goal, to kill one more and make it 1,000. One day, he saw the Buddha walking calmly through the forest. Angulimala chased him, but no matter how fast he ran, he couldn't catch up. Frustrated, he shouted, "Stop, monk." The Buddha turned and said softly, "I have stopped. You have not." That single phrase pierced his heart. Something cracked inside him. He dropped his sword, he bowed, and he became a monk, from a killer to a saint. But even after his transformation, his karma didn't disappear. Villagers beat him, threw stones at him. He bore it all in silence. One day, he said to the Buddha, "Why must I suffer even though I've changed?" The Buddha replied, "You are now free in spirit, but the body must still carry the weight of old karma. Be patient. Let it burn away." Karma isn't a cosmic punishment. It's not about revenge. It's simply, every action plants a seed, every seed bears fruit, when the conditions are right. But the tricky part, you don't always see the seed, you only see the fruit. You might see someone stealing, lying, exploiting others, and think, why are they winning? But you don't see the inner turmoil they carry, the paranoia, the emptiness, or the karmic consequences that await. Sometimes, the worst karma isn't what happens outside, it's what grows inside. Let's be clear, karma isn't simple math. It's not do one good thing, get one good result. It's more like planting an orchard. You don't know which tree will bear fruit first, or which one will get disease. But one thing is certain, you always harvest what you plant. If someone is wealthy today, they may have planted generosity before. If they are unkind now, they are planting future pain. So the real question isn't, why do they have so much? The real question is, what am I planting? You can't control their karma, you can't speed up justice, but you can choose your seeds, seeds of kindness, patience, honesty, mindfulness, and even if they don't bloom right away, they will. Just because you don't see the karma doesn't mean it's not coming, it's on its way. Like a letter with no return address. There's a deep peace in understanding this. You stop being obsessed with fairness, you stop needing instant justice, and you start focusing on your path, your choices, your peace. As the Buddha said, do not be concerned with the faults of others. Examine your own actions, tend your own garden. Do you ever feel like the world is spinning out of control? Wars, corruption, injustice, greed celebrated, kindness ignored. In a world so chaotic, where doing wrong seems faster, louder, richer, how do we stay pure? How do we choose good? Let's face it, it's hard. It's hard to be kind when people are cruel, hard to be honest when everyone cheats, hard to be calm when the world is shouting. But this is exactly when karma becomes your anchor. Think of gold. You don't find it shining in a jewelry box, you find it hidden in rock, melted in fire. And just like that, your good karma is forged in life's heat. When you are angry, and you choose peace, karma is made. When you are wronged, and you respond with grace, karma is made. When you are tempted, but stay true, karma is made. Goodness in comfort is easy, goodness in chaos is powerful. This is why the Buddha taught, just as a lotus rises unsoiled from the muddy water, so can a wise one rise above the world, unstained. Everything begins in the mind. Before an action becomes karma, it starts as a thought, one judgment, one craving, one reaction. So, how do we create good karma? Start with your intentions. With our thoughts, we make the world. The Buddha, when your thoughts are rooted in compassion, your words become healing, your actions become peaceful, and your life becomes lighter. In Buddhism, karma flows through 3 doors: mind, what you think; speech, what you say; body, what you do. Let's walk through them. 1. Mind. Plant seeds of peace, replace envy with gratitude, replace judgment with curiosity, replace blame with awareness. Every time you choose a wiser thought, you create a new destiny. 2. Speech. Speak with mindfulness. Words can build or break, words can heal or harm, words are karma in sound. Try this. Before you speak, ask, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? If it fails all 3, let it go. 3. Action. Serve, give, forgive, hold the door open, help someone in silence, smile without reason. Forgive without being asked. Even the smallest action, if done with a pure heart, creates enormous ripples. Let's be clear, creating good karma isn't about being nice all the time. It's not about being passive or weak, it's about being awake. Awake to your motives, awake to your ego, awake to your patterns. It's easy to be good when people are watching, but true karma is created in the unseen moments, when no one's watching, when there's no reward, when you choose right anyway, that's when you rise above the storm. In Zen, we say, when the mind is still, the sword is useless. Meaning, even in a chaotic world. If your mind is clear, you're untouched. Let the noise train your stillness, let injustice sharpen your wisdom, let conflict awaken your compassion. The world is your mirror, not your enemy. It shows you where your work is, where your growth lies, where your karma is waiting to bloom. In a crowded street market in Bangkok, a Buddhist monk walks, collecting alms. People bump into him, vendors shout, motorbikes fly past, a beggar screams at him for money. The monk doesn't react, he simply smiles, places a coin in the beggar's bowl, and walks on. Later, someone asked him, "Why didn't you get angry?" He said, "That man was suffering, why should I take it personally, why add fire to his fire?" In one moment, he created a lifetime of karma, not through preaching, but through presence. In a noisy world, let karma be your compass. Don't ask, "What will I get from this?" Ask, "What will this create in me?" Let your next decision be rooted in mindfulness, let your next word be soaked in compassion, let your next action be a seed that blooms into peace, because in the end, the world may be full of chaos, but your soul can still be calm. So now you know that karma isn't instant, you know that evil might win, for a while, you know that good people suffer, and still rise, you know that wealth doesn't mean freedom, and fame doesn't mean peace, but still, why should you keep doing good, why keep walking the silent path of kindness, that when no one claps for you, why choose compassion, that when anger seems more powerful, why speak truth, that when lies are louder, why? Doing good is not a business deal, it's not, "I'll be kind, so life owes me." It's, "I'll be kind. Because that's who I choose to be." When you act with love, you become love. When you practice compassion, you embody compassion. When you serve in silence, you create an unshakable strength. You don't do good to impress the world, you do good to free yourself from it. There's a Zen parable, a man plants a seed, but never waits for fruit. He walks on, because planting was enough, and years later, someone sits under the shade of that tree, someone tastes the sweetness of that fruit. Maybe they never know your name, but your karma knows. You changed the world, quietly, and isn't that beautiful? You gave without thanks, you forgave without applause, you held space for someone who never returned the kindness, that wasn't wasted, that was written into your soul, in the quiet moments, in the tears you wiped from your own face, in the strength you built from heartbreak. That was your awakening, and no one can take that away. Sometimes you'll feel alone, like you're walking uphill, while everyone else is racing downhill. You'll be tempted to quit, to scream, to rush, to retaliate, but pause, feel your breath, feel your feet on the earth. Remember, the Buddha walked alone under the Bodhi tree, not to escape the world, but to understand it, and you walk this path not because it's easy, but because it's true, and truth will always guide you home. Everyone wants a better world, but what if you're the one meant to create it? What if your kindness saves someone from breaking today? What if your calmness inspires a child to choose peace? What if your presence ripples into generations you'll never meet? What if your good karma is not about your reward, but their awakening? Then every step you take matters, every act of good echoes, every moment of stillness heals. So do good, not for gain, not for glory. Do good, because that's how the world changes, one soul, one choice, one breath at a time. This is not the end, this is your beginning, a life of awareness, a path of mindful creation, a heart that chooses love, again and again, whether the world claps or not, because the world doesn't need more noise, it needs more peace, and you are that peace, when you choose to be. If this message touched your heart, we invite you to walk this journey of awakening with us. Subscribe to Zen Buddhism Wisdom, join thousands around the world who are ready to live deeper, not louder. Click here to subscribe and turn on the bell. Together, let's plant seeds of compassion that outlive even our names.